Hey everyone, Ashley Mailloux here with the Daily Racing Form. Starting on Saturday, January 7th, Gulfstream Park and Santa Anita Park are going to offer coast-to-coast pick fives on Saturdays and Sundays, featuring races from both tracks, and also featuring a $1 minimum 15% takeout. Sequence will get started at Gulfstream Park, and then from there it'll flip-flop between the two. And for me, a $48 ticket is what I put together. We'll dive right into race number 9 from Gulfstream Park. It's the 1 mile, $100,000 Ginger Brew on the turf for 3-year-old fillies. Arguably the horse to beat, the number 3 Cairo Consort, who most recently finished 3rd at Keeneland in the Grade 1 Breeders' Cup Juvenile Fillies Turf. I loved that she was forwardly placed. It was only her second outing going that mile, and thought she really ran well. She was beaten by less than 5 lengths. Career best buyer speed figure of a 79. Now, she was purchased in November, now joins the barn of Todd Pletcher and gets Arad Ortiz in the iron. She's 7-5 morning line. The other 2 horses I liked in here, the number 6, Anna Kiernan. This one out of the Chad Brown barn, just recently joined that barn. You can see last start was back in August of 2022 in France. All of her starts were actually in France, so making that first North American start. Typically not a problem for Chad Brown runners, 21%, a really big number to know. Seems to be working well at Payson. She is going to stretch out in distance today, but Chad Brown typically spots these newcomers to his barn in good spots. Now, the 7 Navy Goats, my price in here, 8-1 morning line. Thought the race last time out, the pace was pedestrian-like, and it was on the Tapeta, her first try on the Tapeta, but I thought she ran really well, was much the best in that field. She was favored. Prior to that, she graduated at Kentucky Downs, which can be a tall task. Now, I will say the race wasn't the most productive in terms of horses next time out, but I liked how she was pretty close to the pace throughout, and the price might be right on her. We'll move over for leg 2 to Santa Anita Park. It's going 6.5 furlongs on their downhill turf course. It's an allowance race. Looking at this field of Cal-breds and Cal-sired horses. Number 3, Thornhouse. Likely seeing this one being the post-time favorite. 4 starts under his belt, 2 wins, 2 second-place finishes. Now, has been favored in those last 3 efforts and did finish second last time out, but no, it was only his first turf start. Prior to that, all dirt starts. I thought he ran really well. I know his numbers dropped in there significantly, but still looking at this field, his numbers certainly fit and looks very tough. The other horse, the number 5, 4 Flag. This one's going to cut back in distance, has been forwardly placed in those last 2, and I think that's key. I think this one could be sneaking the spot at 5-1 for trainer Michael McCarthy. Back to Gulfstream Park, 2 horses here in this leg for me. This is race 11, a maiden special weight at 7.5 furlongs on the turf course. Thought the number 6, Mooncat, was intriguing, a second-time starter for Chris Davis, who ran well on debut, now going to get on the turf, which I think is key. And then the 9, Hardy Choice. This is the replay I wanted to show. I thought this horse ran a huge race last time out at Gulfstream. That race was going to be on December 10th, and looking at this replay, you can see as the number 9 horse is on the rail at this point in the race. You can see Julian Lebreu has 10 of horse underneath him and just trying to carve out a trip from this spot. There's a couple horses in front of him. You can see the 4 that's trying to get going as well. And from here, still being a patient ride, to say the least, and will tip out, does make contact with the rival. But once this horse really gets kind of set in the stretch, he really starts to kick in and runs quite nicely. I even see some greenness. He seems to duck out just a tad, but had full of run in the stretch and just misses in here to finish second by half a length. So arguably Hardy Choice, I believe, is probably the one to beat here in race 11, which is the 3rd leg of this sequence. Now, last 2 legs back to California. Race number 6, 6.5 furlongs on the downhill turf course, the Sunshine Millions Filly and Mare Turf Sprint. To me, it's a 2-horse race, the 3, Alice Marble, and the 5, Eddie's New Dream. Both of them been successful at the 6.5 furlong distance. I thought Alice Marble second off on the stretch out, figures to improve off that 3rd place finish. And the 5, Eddie's New Dream, going to cut back and get to a distance that most recently she was able to win at. Now, to wrap things up, last race it's going to be in the sequence, race number 8 from Santa Anita. It's the Cal Cup Oaks at a mile on the turf course. Just went with 2 runners in here. The 8, Sell the Dream, who was 3rd last time out, in the grade 3, Jimmy Durant, going a mile at Del Mar. Flavian Pratt's book to ride. I thought the jock was a huge thing to note. And then the number 9, Cast Member. He's going to try the turf for the first time, but undefeated in 3 career starts. So a lot to like about that one. We'll see how Cast Member does on the turf. But one more look at my pick 5 ticket. As I mentioned, a $48 ticket, $1 minimum, and a 15% takeout. Good luck.